What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Q. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today, I actually wanted to go over on how I made $823 in 2.5 hours trading gold this morning. Just wanted to go over this video real quick to show you what I did for the sake of my strategy, so you guys can always get some more insight into what my strategy actually does look like and what I do on a day-to-day basis to stay consistent within the market itself. So as you can see here, it was 823 for this singular trade on gold today at I believe it was 9 o'clock. That's when I had actually gotten out of this trade. Got out of the trade. I got out of the trade at like 10, like 9 o'clock ish. So for the trade, go over this real quick. Do some top-down analysis as always that you guys always want to practice is going to be doing top-down analysis so you can make sure that you are knowing where the market is heading in general. The market always has a particular direction. It's just a matter of figuring out which way it's going and making sure that you are majority of the times heading in that direction. So for some top-down analysis for this and how I made it in the last day, or actually in 2.5 hours. So for top-down analysis wise, daily time frame, you do see that you are still maintaining a bullish trend because you can see on here that you are still making higher lows that you will see based on these points here, right? These higher low points are still maintaining. I understand that this is a lot that you might be looking at right now, but if you do just go out to a higher time frame, that is where you'll be able to actually clear up a lot more of the noise that you are getting at this point in time. So for example, so you can see here, the points that I will mark off would be here for the sake of a higher low. There is something there, and then for what we are doing at this point in time, based on what we did last week, and then also for down here. And then if I go down to a daily time frame, you see it's the exact same points that I just marked off for that, just so you can get a little bit clearer and understand which parts are true levels of structure and not that you are trying to just get confused on anything that you are looking at in general. So from here, understanding that we are in a bullish condition, we did see that we are in a slight counter trend at the point in time. So during all of last week, majority of it, we were actually like pushing down for the majority of last week. This was, let's see. So last week started here. We had Monday, all of the week was majority bearish, and then one day just kind of pushed us all the way back up. And then for the rest of the week, we started to make a little bit more bullish movement after we had some news come out. I believe it was the Jackson Hole meeting on last week Friday, or like last week Thursday, or something like that. It was last week. Last week, Jackson Hole, there was some good news for gold, and this is honestly going to be a little bit of an outlook on what I do see for gold in a way bigger scale. So for gold in general, what my outlook would be on this pair for right now. It's honestly, it's been always for us to continue on this bullish move. So as you can see here, just based on like a daily time frame, we did have an official pullback to a 61.8, and then from there we did finally start to make our way back up. As you can tell, this entire market has taken us literally forever to actually start heading back up. I think the resistance are so for understanding what a fib is. A fib is going to show you how deep of a retracement the market is going to make as long as you are still heading in the overall direction that you are looking to go. So for example, we are bullish in this market. You went from point A down here to point B down to point C, which overall it really just more tested that level of support based on how I learned. So it is point C down here. Then we started to make our way back up, but because we were starting to make some lower high points in comparison to this, so you have that high, and then you made another lower high, and then also you had this one right here, so this kind of gave us some insight that we might see some bearish pressure for some time being at that point. But we were getting that for a while, and because we had a 61.8 retrace on a daily time frame, I did understand that this was going to take a while for us to continue to see us like push past it. Honestly, I didn't expect it to take a whole quarter and some change. I believe it actually has been like 4 months since we've been stuck here. 129 days. Yeah, so yeah, four and like 2 weeks, 4 and like a week and a half. So 4 months we were stuck in this range trying to make this move happen the entire time. We have literally been trying to do this for 4 months, man. And I believe that this is actually going to be the move or the push that we finally get to actually break out of this range, because as you can see here, we did actually start to have the downwards counter trend line get broken now, which we haven't broken at all. Last time we did touch it was here, and then this most recent lower high point that we did have. Then we made the higher low and then started to see our wave flow back up, which overall, if you guys do know what certain patterns are, then this pattern is a bigger... That is not what I wanted. How did that even happen? Bullish pennant. Okay, so this is a bullish pennant. We're overall in a bullish market. So for us, we want to see these type of things like a bullish pattern, which means that we were expecting this entire time for this little like pop out essentially. So I was looking for this for the longest. Honestly, this has been the most confusing thing to ever see from especially gold, which is typically like moving up or has like a really deep retrace and then finds its way back up. But the fact that this never came back down, I do honestly wonder if this is going to be like almost a new standard price for gold, because getting up into this area of 3,400 does have me interested as into why it's stuck here for so long. Again, gold is not typically a market that likes to consolidate for this long. I've been like kind of tracking gold ever since I started my trading journey back in 2021, at the top of 2021. And it's never really consolidated for like this long, in all honesty. Like, this is a very honestly random thing that I've ever experienced. Kind of grateful I did experience it, because now I know what to and not to do in this market and how I'm supposed to look at it. This was honestly a really great learning experience to understand what we were doing in this aspect. But for the market in general, I still see this continuously just pushing up to honestly probably 4,000. Depending on what we do for the sake of the rate next month, because the whole purpose behind why we ended up pushing up anyways is because Jackson Hole meeting had a really good outlook where there was potential for rates to drop, which typically tends to push gold higher. So if rates do drop and that gets released for the next FOMC meeting in September, I don't even know. Someone's horn is going crazy right now. Yeah, they bugging. Okay. So overall, I am looking for gold to continue up, potentially 4,000. Honestly, the way the price action looks, I honestly hate the way this looks, because this has literally no price action whatsoever on a monthly time frame. Like, I wish we had pulled back in the slightest before we decided to do this, but we didn't, which makes me wonder again why that we did that, and wondering whether or not this could be like kind of a new standard for gold to stay above, because in the past gold will stay above certain price points. Like, you will probably never see gold get back to 1,500 or like 12. You'll never see that again, like a day in your life. So it makes me wonder whether or not we are ever going to come back down to these levels. So from here, it is going to be interesting to see how we do have to kind of interact with the market, because this was an honestly very interesting thing, and there is no other price action above here. We are at all-time highs and have been sitting here for the past 4 months. So it's going to get interesting. But let me get back into the overall analysis to show you how I made the $800 in 2 hours. So for here on the 4-hour time frame, because on the daily we did know that we were overall heading bullish, and if I remove this fib out the way real quick, I can show you that it was making a higher high, or well, a high, and then you overall made a higher low, which was, I believe, really confirmed after the Jackson Hole meeting, which was I believe this day. So after that happened, that confirmed that it was making a higher low point. From there, I'm looking for us to make a continuation to the upside, because we are bullish in general, and that is what I want to see, especially bouncing off of this trend line as well that is heading up, because again, we are in a bullish pennant. These are areas of confluence that you want to see for your buying points. So we ended up pushing up. You can break down this structure right here on a 4-hour time frame to see it a little bit better. It is kind of, I guess you can call it choppy. It is a little bit choppy in this zone where it is harder for you to read it just based off of 4 hours strictly if you were to do that. So I would always go down to a 1-hour time frame. But I go to this one just to understand which direction we are going, which you can see here. We are making higher highs and higher lows. So what does that indicate? We are bullish in general. So as we do see there, then I would hop down to a 1 hour time frame to be able to analyze what that more like strict leg that you can see that is kind of hard to read on the 4 hour time frame. I just want to be able to read it a little bit better. So I will jump down to a 1 hour just to make sure I'm doing that. So as you can see here, still making bullish structure, which is another good sign. That means that we are just looking for buys, in all honesty. Nothing about this market says sell. Legitimately nothing about this market says sell. So as we were pushing up, when I woke up, which is at 4 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time, 4 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time, we were around this region right here. Gold had pushed down, and then when we pushed down into this level of support, I was in some entries here that didn't work out. I was in an entry on this 15-minute candle here that completely just wicked out. I was like, wow, that's great. So I got in here because I was looking for the market to make a higher low, and based on like a 5 and a 1 minute, it looked like that spot had a really high point of confluence for it to be it, especially when you look to the left. You can see that literally this is a strong level of resistance and support if you are to mark this entire zone off, and that is exactly where we bounced off of. So after we did that, I was looking for us to actually make a higher low point. As you can see here, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, support, and it just kind of failed from there. So I had an entry there, didn't work out. It came back down, which just gave me a better opportunity to actually get in. So I'm not mad at that in the slightest. And that is one thing that you actually honestly have to learn about being a day trader, is that you have to learn that obviously these losses are going to come with it. It's not necessarily that you are doing anything wrong. And this is something I'm having to come to terms with, obviously, every day that you go along with this. But it's not your fault that you lose necessarily. It's just the system. It's part of it. If you are backtesting enough, which I backtest a lot, just to make sure that you understand your system that well, because it's the more you understand your system, the better it becomes. It's not that the system is just the system. Like, you have to be a very adaptable person, so you have to understand how to adapt with your system essentially throughout this entire market, because the market does get weird. As you see here, gold consolidated for 4 months and then took off. Yeah, my system had to be adapted quite heavy. So from there, I would see that support was holding based on this 1 hour time frame after it had dropped a little bit heavier. It was a very, very, very choppy drop. If you can look at this price action, that was honestly the most annoying thing I've ever seen. So if I'm entered in here, look at this. Every time you made a bullish move, you took it out in the most awkward way. Everything was a wick up and it come right back down. Literally. You come up, you'd make a low, then you make a lower high, then come right back down. Make a low, make a lower high, come right back down, which is bearish structure. And I understood that when I did take that entry that I wasn't breaking a level of resistance on a lower time frame, which I knew would actually help me to get full confirmation saying that we were in. But this is how my system works, and that's just the entry that I did see at that point in time. So it came down, took me out, and then I saw that we were still maintaining this area and then still also bouncing off of this trend line based on the 1 hour time frame. So this green trend line that you can see here, we were bouncing off of. We have a point A that you see here. So point A, point B, point C, point D. All right, and then if we hit it again, which there is honestly a possibility, then it'll be point E. Right. So we were making point D. I understood that the entire time, even after it came down to take me out. After it came down to take me out, I understood the entire time, okay, we're still maintaining this area. I understand my bias is still to look for a buy. So if it decides to go a little bit lower, that just means I wait for the buy to come in at some point in time, because it will happen. So it's coming down. And on the 1 minute time frame, this is where you have to get into the real details of it. And this is how I got pretty much like almost a wick entry. Obviously, it doesn't look like one in this case, but it looks like a wick entry if you view it in a certain aspect. So right here, it comes down. I can see the counter trend that we were making that entire time, which took me out because, again, I was entered in up here, and then it just continued to keep going to the downside. So as it continued to go, I learned from my mistake, which was on the last trade where I didn't let it break a point of resistance and then get in. I let it do it here. So this little orange zone was my point of resistance that I needed it to actually close above, come back down, retest, and then continue up. And then I also need to wait for 2 confirmations. So my second confirmation was the fact that we're making a higher low. And then I had a third confirmation, which made this even higher probability that this was going to go in my favor, was the fact that we were breaking and retesting off of the backside of this trend line. Now, where I could have gone a little bit better, honestly, is that I could have scaled in as soon as we had broke this more major resistance on a 1 minute time frame. This resistance right here is like the last. Here, let me show you. It's just easier to explain it like this. I say it's a more major level of resistance because I can see it on a higher time frame, right? That same purple line you saw on the 1 minute time frame, this same little zone right here, is the same thing, right? Everything correlates. It's all one system. The same way that your training system has to be is the same way it has to be in the market. It's all just one little system. So right here, this purple line, that was the more major resistance because I can see it on a different time frame, right? You had this little push back up and a lower high. It doesn't look like much on a 5 minute, but it's a lot on a 1 minute. So as soon as we had broke there, that is where I should have honestly scaled in just another position, because this was giving me more confirmation saying that we were going to head in my favor, which you want to add to your winners. It's okay to take a loss. That's the thing. It's okay to take a loss, and especially if you know how your system's supposed to go, if you know how you're supposed to trade, if you know these things, it's okay to take a loss. But you have to make your winners really win. And that's where I kind of just didn't do the best at. But overall, I did make money, so I can't be mad at that. But once I had entered based off of this bullish variation here on the 1 minute time frame, which is this right here, you had those I would say more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. I really kind of waited for one more candle just to really confirm it, but those 6 candles right there were the ones that I did get for the signal to actually get in. Once I was in, I literally just let it flow, and legitimately, as soon as I got in, there was 0 drawdown in the slightest. We ended up like going into the slightest amount of drawdown because you see this little wick at the open of this candle. It had came back down to like make a higher low and then push up. We did have a little bit of news that I wasn't scared of because I knew what the trend was, and a lot of people don't like to trade news. I don't mind it because I am 80% technical and I understand the fundamentals of it. So I understood that we were looking to buy just based off of the things I discussed before with the outlook on gold. And then also on top of that, structure will always tell you where news is typically going to put the market, because if you're in an overall bullish trend and you see that you're coming down before news, more than likely news is going to make that go right back up. Or if you were already on a heavy bullish trend, more than likely news might you make the retrace. It's going to do one of two things, and just understand which point you were at. I was at a level of support, so I understand that news is more than likely going to push us off of this support. Volume always helps. That's a good thing. You kind of want volume because it made the trade last not as long. So news came in. We ended up breaking this minor level of resistance right here on like a 1 hour time frame. And then once we had broke this level of resistance right here, that's when I knew it was like on and popping. And it just kept pushing. Honestly, I could have closed this day at probably like $2,000. Kind of disappointed in not holding my position that long, but I'm not mad at the fact that I made the money that I made, because 2 hours for $800 is a lot more than I will get at a day job. So I will gladly take that. But yeah, so that is really how I made $800 in 2.5 hours. As you can see here, I entered, and it was literally, this is a 1 hour time frame. So you have 1, 2, and then by the time like it was 2.5, like I think I did this in like what? Because I closed up here. I closed on this candle once I had like closed like exhausted. I just didn't like it. I closed there. So that was in, let's see, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. So 2 hours and 15 minutes, and that was it. So I appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe. If you do have any questions about my strategy, or if you would like to see a strategy video, or if there's certain things you'd like me to talk about, please do. Please also do check out any of my other videos before that I have posted previously. I did have a vlog that went up last week where I show how I made $650 in, I think it was 5 hours. So please take a look at that. when you do get an opportunity. Again, thank you. I appreciate everyone that does watch this. I appreciate everyone that will watch this in the future as well. Thank you guys, and I will see you on the next one.